You get a job around 20, you work till you're 60, and then, what, you just stop? For decades, that was the entire game plan. Well, today, we're going to see why that whole model is basically being tossed out the window. So, let's get into this, because this is the new reality, the 100-year career.
Right, we all know this picture. You work for 40 years, maybe you get a gold watch, you cash in the 401k. It's that classic one-and-done career path. It's defined success for generations. And, it's familiar, it's comfortable, and it's also about to become a complete relic of the past.
And here's why. It's pretty simple, actually. Thanks to incredible advances in health and wellness, we're living way, way longer than this old formula was ever built for. I mean, planning to hit a finish line at 60 when you could easily live to be 100 or even older, it just doesn't add up anymore. It's an obsolete formula for a world that's already moved on.
So, yeah, let's talk about that old finish line. For way too long, we've treated the age of 60 not as some milestone, but more like a professional expiration date. And that's an idea that we have to completely, totally dismantle. The new way of thinking is this huge shift from a 40-year work life to an 80-plus-year productive life. Just let that sink in for a second. We're not just talking about living longer. We're talking about contributing, creating, and being engaged for decades longer than anyone ever imagined. This isn't just a longer old age. It's more like an era of lifelong active duty.
Okay, so what does an 80-year productive life even look like? Well, it's definitely not one single grueling marathon of a career. Instead, you need to start thinking about your life in these distinct 30-year chapters.
And this right here shows you the incredible potential. Take a look at this example of a 120-year life. You could spend 30 years as a programmer, right? Then you retrain, and you spend the next 30 becoming a master carpenter. And then you shift gears again to become a counselor until you're 100 years old. Each one of those is a whole new career, a new peak, a new prime.
What's really fascinating here is the why behind these changes. People won't be switching careers because they're burnt out or forced out. No, they'll be transitioning because they've found a new dream. You master one field, then you use that wisdom to launch yourself into a new calling with a real sense of purpose, and you reach a completely new peak. It totally redefines lifelong learning. It's not just some box to check for your job. It's a core part of who you are.
Now, this all sounds fantastic for, personal fulfillment. But what about the bottom line, the hard economics? Well, this new model of life and work actually unlocks something we could call the super productivity formula. And trust me, it completely turns our old ideas about age and value upside down.
This quote right here, this is the whole idea in a nutshell. I mean, just imagine combining a lifetime of wisdom, all that deep experience, with the kind of physical and mental stamina we're now seeing in people in their 60s, 70s, and even beyond. That combination, it's like a force multiplier. It's an engine for productivity like we've never, ever seen. For decades, the assumption was just, you get older, you get slower, your productivity tanks. Well, this new reality absolutely blows that myth out of the water. When you have decades of experience combined with renewed vigor, the output isn't just good for their age, it's unbeatable. Period. For companies, the challenge isn't about managing decline anymore. It's about figuring out how to tap into this unbelievable combo of experience and vitality. So let's zoom out. Let's look at how this plays out on a massive scale. Because this isn't just about a few individual careers changing. This is about re-engineering our entire economy for a world that's full of active, productive 100-year-olds.
The absolute biggest shift is this. We're moving from a society where a huge chunk of the population is seen as a dependent to one where they stay producers. People are no longer a drain on the system in their later years. Instead, they become key drivers of its growth. They're creating whole new markets and services for their multi-stage lives.
And that number says it all. 100. Just imagine people creating value, paying taxes, solving really tough problems, and filling labor shortages for up to 100 years of their lives. That right there, that's the economic miracle we're talking about. And this chart just makes it so clear. In the old model, you've got this small base of producers trying to support a huge population of dependents. But in the new model, look at that. The producer base absolutely swells, creating a level of economic prosperity and stability that's just unprecedented. Okay, so we've seen the big picture, right? The massive economic transformation. But let's bring it all back down to you. What does all this mean for your future, for your next 80 years?
This is the question I really want to leave you with. If the canvas of your life was suddenly twice as big, and you had the chance to master not one, but 3 or 4 different fields, what would you do? Who would you choose to become? The end of retirement isn't really an ending at all. It's the beginning of having several new lives all within one.
That's it for this one. Join us next time as we dig into what a super healthy, long-lived population could mean for the future of healthcare. It's going to be a good one. See you then.